there is an ideological fight inside the Democratic Party,
Right.
Which I think is very healthy. The fact that there's not an ideological fight inside the Republican Party is very unhealthy.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, it's not that long ago that there were more Republican governors who were pro-choice than anti-abortion, and that's changed now. But I could foresee, people say we need a third party, and I sometimes make the case to be provocative, but I sort of believe it, that maybe there are three parties in America, and two are inside the Democratic Party. Both of them thriving. Both of them have very valid points. Both of them seem to be, for their constituents, very popular. The mayor of New York is very popular. He's done a great job. And is it conceivable that the way this plays out is that the Democratic Party really becomes the dominant party in America with two different factions, and that maybe at some point they split and they call each other one thing? One becomes the Democratic Party, one becomes I don't know.
I think that's exactly, I think what's going to happen here is Democrats take the House, because I think we're going to take the House.
Yep.
And I still think there's a real shot at taking the Senate.
Yep.
I think what's going to happen is you're going to be able to see that a Democratic majority can negotiate within itself and get things done for people.
Right.
In other words, we can I don't care if you're for Democratic Socialists or not, or for the more conservative wing of the Democratic Party or middle wing of the Democratic Party. Those two groups can actually talk to each other, actually get things done on behalf of constituents that lowers prices, that impacts their lives. You cannot negotiate. This is what made Schumer not the right leader for our time, because you cannot negotiate with anybody on the Republican side with Trump. And so, that's what a lot of the leadership was groomed to do. But I think when we win, the people are going to see the multiple wings in the Democratic Party that actually can talk to each other, actually can negotiate, yes, compromise, find a middle ground between them that works, that gets things done, and leaves the Republicans out there. I mean, the Republican office holders still beholden for another 2.5 years to dear leader, leaves them, as still just nothing but obstructionist. You look at what's going on around the country on so many different issues right now. Yeah, there's going to be a debate about Israel and Gaza and all. And yes, between the two wings or the two differences in the party, but they will find the ground to that I think will be real policy that can work. That's not going to happen by talking to Wicker or anybody else in the Republican Party. They're like, there's nobody to talk to over there. Maybe that does what you're saying. Eventually, maybe now does that end up with some moderate Republicans coming into a really big tent party that is a majority that negotiates with itself and makes things happen? Or is there eventually a split? But I don't know the answer.
There is a role of demographics to play in this, probably. Demographics aren't destiny until they are destiny, and they are destiny if you don't change. It occurred to me, and this is one of these sort of incredibly obvious things, like, every person walking the planet has a mother and a father. But no Republican, I bet since World War II, has been elected without a majority of the white vote at any level.